On the edge of a small, bustling town, a man in his 30s carried 2 lives on one set of shoulders. By day, he sold software and smiles in a busy office. By night, he stood over a sizzling cart, turning corn dogs until the batter blushed golden. He did it to keep a simple promise, to care for his partner and their 2 children. The math rarely felt kind. Time ran thin, energy ran thinner, and yet his heart kept sketching new menu ideas on the steam, fogging his cart's glass. Lately, the office had taken more than it gave. He wondered if quitting to grow the food stall might be the path, but fear kept a steady drum. What if the stall could not feed the home? One Sunday, the family rode out to the countryside to visit his aging parents. After tea and laughter and the quiet that elders wear like a soft shawl, he slipped out for a walk along the fields. There, among hens clucking like gossiping aunties, he found an old acquaintance, Robert, who once wore office shirts but now wore soil on his hands and peace on his face. The man asked if Robert had a moment. Robert, mid-gathering of warm eggs, nodded with a smile and said, "Tell me." So the story spilled out. The stress, the night work, the hope, the fear. Robert listened like a pond. Nothing stirred until the right moment. "There are 7 things to weigh before you leave a salary for a dream," he said. "First, take small steps. People love to leap, but knees are built for walking. Sell 1, then 3, then 10. Let both your revenue and your wisdom grow in layers. Don't fly a plane before you've watched enough birds." The man's shoulders eased. His breath went deeper without him noticing. "Second," Robert continued, "let your side income prove itself. If it can cover your family, good. If it can cover twice the needs, better." Businesses breathe in and out, some months wide lungs, some months tight. A cushion lets you meet both. They settled under a patch of shade, coffee warming their palms. "Third," said Robert, "save for storms. 6 months of living, a year if you can. That fund is not for spending. It is a fence against panic, a silence that lets you learn." The man nodded. He could almost hear the fence posts going in, one careful thunk at a time. "Fourth," Robert's eyes softened, "learn the work beyond the recipe. Marketing, hours, supply, waste. Luck is a lovely visitor, but she never pays the rent." Here the man felt something loosen, like a knot, deciding to be a ribbon. In that looseness rose a memory. A monk from his childhood temple had once told him, "Right effort is not frantic, it is steady." He watched a farmhand cross the yard like a metronome, not rushing, never lagging. In his chest, the office clock grew faint. As the field breeze turned, Robert added, "Fifth, resolve. The road is long, and the weather will change without asking you. Sixth, stability. Let your stall show 3 months of steady heartbeats, 6 if possible. Seventh, learn your risks. Neighbors, competition, tastes, seasons. Knowing the river's bends won't stop the current, but it keeps your boat upright." The man heard the list and did not rush to decide. He simply breathed in 1, 2, 3, and thought of his children sleeping. He breathed out 1, 2, 3, and thought of oil popping, doors opening, the first customer of a long morning. When they rose, the sun had shifted. "I'll consider all 7, he said. "Not yet, not today, but I will know when the ground feels firm." Robert smiled the way people do when they trust time, and as the man walked back toward the house, toward aging parents, a waiting partner, 2 small surprises in socks, he felt the quiet courage of someone willing to do the next right thing, and then the next. Adapted from the original 7 Lessons Must Know Before Career Moves, from job to business, inspiring story, transcript, and structured per your workflow brief. That evening, as the lanterns flickered on in the countryside homes, the man sat with his parents. Their hands were wrinkled, their stories older than the soil itself. His mother poured tea, her movements slow but steady. His father spoke gently about patience, reminding him that rice fields do not yield overnight. Listening, the man felt the echo of Robert's 7 lessons deepening. They were not just about business, they were about living in rhythm with life itself. When the children grew restless, he took them for a walk beneath the stars. The youngest pointed at the sky, asking why the moon changed shape. He explained softly that the moon does not change. It only shows what the sun allows. In that moment, he realized his own life too was not lacking, only waiting for the right light. Fear had been the shadow. Faith could be the sunrise. Later, lying awake beside his partner, he thought of another voice from long ago, a monk who had once placed a pebble in his palm. "Hold it lightly," the monk had said. "If you grip too hard, it hurts. If you let it fall, you lose it. Balance is the path." Now, decades later, those words returned like a bell. The stall, the job, the family, all were pebbles. The choice was not to crush or abandon them, but to hold them with balance. The following week, he returned to the market with new clarity. He still wore his office shirt during the day, but in the evening his stall seemed brighter, his smile more real. He tried small experiments, adding a new dipping sauce, adjusting the hours slightly, asking customers what they enjoyed most. Each small change felt like a step up the staircase Robert had described. And with every step, the knot of fear inside him loosened a little more. One night, an elderly man approached his stall, walking slowly with a cane. After buying a corn dog, he stayed to talk. He told of how he once ran a tailor shop for 40 years. "Cloth and thread were my teachers," he said. "They taught me that success is just patience, stitched together, day by day." The man listened with gratitude, sensing that wisdom often hides in plain sight, disguised as ordinary conversation. He bowed his head slightly, as if to a silent teacher. At home, he began writing down his thoughts each night, lessons from Robert, voices of parents, monks, strangers. In those pages, he saw a pattern. Every teacher, whether farmer or elder, spoke of the same truth. Do not hurry. Build slowly, save wisely, walk with courage, and above all, trust that the path itself will carry you if you place each step with mindfulness. The decision to resign still remained ahead, but now it no longer pressed like a storm. Instead, it waited patiently, like a seed beneath the soil, silent, hidden, but certain of its time to grow. He smiled as he tucked the notebook away, knowing that each small act, each evening of effort, was already shaping the life he dreamed of. Weeks rolled into months, and the rhythm of his life began to soften. The office remained demanding, yet it no longer drained him in the same way. He had started to see it as a temporary bridge, not a permanent cage. Each evening at the stall became a practice of presence, like meditation, with sizzling oil and the laughter of customers as his mantra. He realized that his cart was more than food. It was a small circle where strangers felt welcome, where stories were exchanged over bites of something warm. One night, rain began to fall heavily, and most vendors closed their stalls. He hesitated, tempted to do the same, but chose instead to stay open. A family, drenched and weary, stumbled under his awning. He offered them food, hot tea, and shelter. They left with smiles and gratitude, and though he earned little money that evening, his heart was full. In that moment, he understood Robert's 6th and 7th lessons more deeply. Stability is not only about numbers, and risk is not only about loss. Sometimes, the reward of a risk is simply a story that warms both giver and receiver. Back at home, his partner noticed the change. "You seem calmer," she said one night, folding laundry beside him. He smiled and admitted, "Maybe it's not about quitting or staying, it's about how I walk the path, whichever it island." They both laughed softly, the kind of laugh that grows only when two people have carried weight together for years. On another Sunday visit to his parents, he shared his progress. His father chuckled, "You remind me of when I planted my first orchard. I wanted fruit the very next season, but the tree taught me patience. It gave nothing for years, and then one day, it offered more than I could carry." His mother added, "Child, sometimes waiting is not wasted time, it is ripening time." He bowed his head, feeling their wisdom like gentle rain on dry soil. That evening, he dreamed of the monk again. This time, the monk stood by a river, holding the same pebble. When the river is shallow, the monk said. Step carefully. When it deepens, swim. But always trust the current. It does not rush, and yet it always arrives. The man woke with tears at the corners of his eyes, sensing that his fear of failure was beginning to dissolve into something gentler, faith in the unfolding. The choice of resignation still rested on the horizon, but it no longer loomed as a cliff. It now appeared as a bridge that would reveal itself when he was ready to walk across. For the first time in years, he felt not trapped between two lives but guided by one flow. He whispered into the quiet night, "Not yet, but soon. And when it is time, I will know." Spring came, and with it, a gentle shift. His stall now had regulars, children who tugged at their parents' hands, elders who came not only for food but for conversation, young workers who said it reminded them of home. Each face was like a page in a book, and every night he felt he was reading a story written together. The business was not yet vast, but it was steady, breathing in and out like a living thing. One evening, Robert stopped by. He bought a corn dog, tasted it, and nodded with quiet pride. "You've walked well," he said. "I see balance in your steps." The man smiled, realizing that he had not rushed to escape the office, nor had he abandoned his dream. Instead, he had built a bridge strong enough to carry both for now. Robert's words felt less like advice and more like a mirror, reflecting the growth that had already taken root. Later that week, his eldest child drew a picture at school, a small stall under a starry sky with the words "Dad's Place" written above it. When he saw it, tears blurred his vision. The drawing was simple, yet it showed him something profound. His children were not measuring his worth by money or status, but by presence, by the warmth he carried home each night. In their eyes, he was already successful. That night, he lit a small candle on the stall's counter before opening. It was not for customers, but for himself, a reminder that every act, no matter how small, could be a prayer. The flame flickered as if bowing, and he felt gratitude rise like incense. Gratitude for the job that still provided, for the stall that slowly bloomed, for parents whose wisdom flowed, for Robert's steady guidance, for monks and strangers who left invisible footprints on his heart. He did not yet hand in his resignation, but the decision no longer frightened him. It was no longer a leap into darkness, but a step into dawn. And like the moon his child had once asked about, he understood now. He was not incomplete. He was whole, only waiting for the right light to reveal his shape. As the market quieted and he closed his stall, he whispered a vow, not to riches, not to success, but to walking steadily, like water flowing toward the sea. One day, when the time was ripe, he would cross fully into his new life. Until then, each night, each customer, each corn dog was already part of the journey. And so the story ends not with a final choice, but with an open horizon, an invitation for anyone listening to pause, breathe, and ask themselves, what small step is waiting for me today?